Hey guys, welcome back into Small Business Q&A with Tim Knox. That's me. Hope you're having a great day. This is the video podcast where you ask the small business question, and I do my best to give you a good answer. And if you'd like to submit a question, you can do so. Send an email to tim@timknox.com, or you can find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, and just send it brief, to the point question about anything pertaining to startup, operations, anything to do with small business really, and I will give you the best answer that I can. And if I do use your question here on the podcast, you'll get a copy of the best-selling book, Everything I Know About Business I Learned from My Mama, a down-home approach to business and personal success. Sometimes I forget my own title. I want to talk about something today because of something I'm doing. I'm going to be speaking today at a luncheon at a group here in Madison that is a job support group. This is a group of folks who have lost their jobs over the last couple of years, haven't been able to find one, and they get together I think once a month at a local church here, and they do a luncheon, and they have a speaker come in, and it's a lot of it's about networking and about getting advice on how to apply for a job and that sort of thing. So they've asked me to come today and speak on the prospect of starting a small business while you're out of work. And I've made some notes here, but I just wanted to kind of go off the top of my head on some things for you guys. Want to ask about, when you're out of work, sometimes you're coming from a place of desperation. If you haven't been able to find a job in a while, thinking about starting your own business, creating your own job, if you will, might be an attractive possibility. The downside there is this is an emotional time, and it may not be the best solution for you to start your own business. So what I'm going to talk to these folks about today, and I do have some notes made here that I'm just going to hit the high points with you, there are a number of things you need to think about before you even consider taking the first step in starting a small business, especially if you are out of work. Because again, you can be coming from a place of desperation. Maybe your money's running out, your unemployment's running out, the pressure is on there to bring in some cash into the household to keep things going. And quite honestly, sometimes starting a small business is not the best way to do that. But if it is something you decide to do, a couple of questions you want to ask yourself is, first of all, is this a good time for you to start a small business? Well, you're out of work, you may have some extra time on your hands, and I advise everybody, if you are really looking for a job, spend as much time during the day as you can doing that. Put out resumes, hit the job boards, etc., etc. But if you do have some time left over, do you have ample time to start a business? So that's a big question to ask. If you do have that time, and here's the biggest question I should have actually started with: are you cut out to be an entrepreneur? That's the big question, whether you're out of work or just looking to do something new. That's the very first question you should ask yourself, because not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. We are a different breed. We are wired a little differently than normal folks. And that's the first question you should ask. Are you able to work long hours for little or no pay? Are you in a position where you can put all of your resources towards starting a business? Are you passionate about the business? If you're not passionate, if you're doing this just to bring in a few dollars, it's not a good idea to start a business. So that's the first thing you need to consider, no matter what, is, are you cut out to be an entrepreneur? Is this really a lifestyle that you can live, that you can get up every day for the next 20, 30 years and pursue? Second question is this: do you have the support of your family? And that's a big one when you're an entrepreneur. If you're out there all by yourself and your spouse is harping on you to go out and get a real job, or you've got the bill collectors at the door, the support of your family is paramount in making any business a success. I know my wife Melissa has been behind me on every business venture that I've ever gone into, very supportive. Even when things didn't go great, she was always very supportive. So that's a big question to ask. Do you have the support of your family, in particular your spouse? Because they're the one that you have to go home to every day. So if you don't have their full support, it's going to create some problems. And don't ever sacrifice your marriage for the sake of a business. Don't ever sacrifice your kids for the sake of a business. That's one of the perks that I always enjoyed about being an entrepreneur, is I had my own schedule, so I could make all the ball games and the dance recitals and that sort of thing. But in the beginning, that can be a little tough. So don't ever start a business to the detriment of your family. Next question, this is a big one because most small businesses fail because of a lack of funding. Do you have the money to start your own business? Not only to start it, but to carry yourself out for 12 to 18 months. You got to remember, when you start a small business, it could be a while before you see a nickel coming through the door. It can be even longer before that nickel goes into your pocket, because as the entrepreneur, you are the last guy or gal to get paid. So do you have adequate funding to start the business? And do you have adequate funding to carry you through 12 to 18 months? Let's say you don't have a customer for the first year. How are you going to sustain that business and sustain your household? So you've got to make sure that funding is in place. The next question to ask is this a wise investment? Is this really a good idea? Is this a good place to put my money and my time and my energy? And that's a question really that you have to ask yourself. But you can also get information by doing market research. And this is something that you should do, again, no matter what business you're starting, when you're starting it, always do the research. How well do you know the market? How well do you know the competition? Who is already doing what you're thinking about doing? How close by are they? How successful are they? Number 3 is, how well do you know the customers, the potential customers for what you're going to do? Let me give you a little word of caution here. I've been teaching entrepreneurial classes going on 10 years now, and mentor and work with a lot of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs, what we call newbies, have a tendency to fall in love with their idea and fall in love with their product. And sometimes they will not listen to what anyone tells them. They won't listen to me. They won't listen to the market research. They won't listen to their potential customers. They think that their baby, their business is this great baby. And sometimes you got to convince them that's really an ugly baby. So, always look for outside counsel. Do your homework. Just talk to some folks. Talk to some folks that would be potential customers. What you're wanting to do here is validate your idea before you spend any money on execution. All right. And here's another one. The last thing to think about is this: what happens if you fail, or if that business fails? That's a big one. That's one of the things that separate entrepreneurs from normal folks. Is entrepreneurs by nature are risk takers. Now, granted, we try to calculate that risk, so we're not really rolling the dice. We've got some knowledge back here that will help us answer the questions. But what happens if you do this, if you launch this venture and it doesn't work? Can you recover? I have seen entrepreneurs go into deep depression for months and months and months over the failure of a business. So the question there is, how quickly can you get up and get back on that horse and get back in the game? I think the final word here is, I'm a big fan of small business, and I'm a big fan of entrepreneurs. What you have to determine is this really a good idea for you? Okay, you're out of work. There are no prospects on the horizon. Okay, starting a small business might seem like the answer to your prayers, but I've seen prayers go unanswered when they're approached from that vantage point. So never start a small business without preparation, without education. Fully educate yourself. You should take the time to become a knowledgeable entrepreneur. Take some classes, read some books, hang out with entrepreneurs. Become an entrepreneur before you launch your own business. Also remember, you're going to need adequate funding, the support of your family, and a great idea. Okay? Remember, you don't have a business until someone gives you money, and that validates your idea. So I hope that was helpful to you. I do wish you luck. The economy is picking back up. I don't think there's ever been a better time to start a small business. It's never been easier to start. We'll talk about that on an upcoming podcast about some of the ideas that you can get moving on businesses and get those started up. Okay. Hey, don't forget, if you would like to submit a question to the program, do so. Tim@timknox.com is the email, Facebook, Twitter. You know where to find me. And if I do use your question on the podcast, you get a copy of the book. You can have it in hardback, makes a wonderful doorstop, or you can have it on your Kindle, however you like it. So that's going to do it. Small Business Q&A with Tim Knox. I don't have my usual I Love Dogs cup. It was dirty, so I have my I Love Reindeer cup. So go out today, rescue a dog, rescue a reindeer, and no matter what you do, go out and make it your business.